Hello ladies and gentlemen, I've got something very interesting for you guys. It has to do with the Vatican. Previously you have heard me do many videos and I never held anything back. I pretty much said that the Vatican is the home of the devil himself. That is pretty much the seat of the devil himself. I said that's the devil's home. Now, what I'm going to share with you is going to be an eye-opener for many of you, and I hope that this shakes many of you out of your comfort zones, and hopefully you guys will finally be able to see exactly the devil behind the Vatican. Historically speaking, this is going to change your perspective. I strongly advise you pay close attention to everything that I'm mentioning in this video, and I strongly advise not keeping this to yourself. Share this information while we still have time. Let's begin. The first thing I'm going to do is direct your attention to the Vatican. Now, the papal enclave is known or is well recognized as St. Peter's Basilica. In fact, let me take you to Google. This is the information about St. Peter's Basilica according to Google. These are what it reads. The Papal Basilica of St. Peter in the Vatican, or simply St. Peter's Basilica, is an Italian Renaissance church in Vatican City, the papal enclave within the city of Rome. Let's do baby steps, step by step. What does that word basilica mean? Now, we're staying on the safe side again. Not my own words. Basilica, according to Google, means the following. Simply, it means a large oblong hall or building used in ancient Rome as a court of law for public assemblies. In bullet points, it reads, a building similar to a Roman basilica used as a Christian church. Or, second bullet reads, the name given to certain churches granted special privileges by the Pope. So we can see a tie between that word basilica and the papacy. They go hand in hand. So make careful note, that word basilica simply means a building or a sanctuary or a home of something big. Next step, let's look at the origins of that word basilica, and in fact, where does that word originate from? Hold on to your seatbelts. Baby steps. You see, there's an English word known as basilisk, which originates or stems from the Greek word basiliskos. And that word basiliskos in Greek means a kinglet or a kind of serpent. Whereas when you go to Latin, that word is pronounced basiliscus or basiliscus. But that's not where it ends, because that same word also appears in French. And in French, it is pronounced basilique. And all these different pronunciations then led to that word basilisk in English. Now you may ask the question, okay, well, what is basilisk and exactly what does it have to do with the Vatican or St. Peter's Basilica? You see, that word basilisk is actually a word, or a name should I say. It's actually the name of a mythical creature which is recognized as the king of serpents. In Greek, that word basiliskos translates as a kinglet, a kind of serpent. That's what it means. It is the king of serpents. Now here's the interesting thing. When we go to other languages, here in fact I'm going to post it for you. What you are seeing is basilisk in all different parts of the world, how they pronounce it. And guess what it means? It translates to a snake-like dragon. And this is all over the world. All over the world. Look at all this. All over the world. The snake-like dragon. Now, we are not yet done. We are far from finished. Hold on to your seatbelts, because I'm about to add a plot twist to all of this. Let's go back to that Greek word which means a kinglet, a type of serpent. Let's look at that word kinglet. Well, that word kinglet is actually a word that is used to describe or depict a bird. Here is what a kinglet bird looks like. As you can see, this bird's got a mohawk. Look at those eyes. The eyes of a swag king. If there's any creatures that got swag, I think this one's got the crown for that. Look at the style of the haircut. Naturally born with a mohawk, not a faux hawk. Let's stay focused. Why do I bring the heavy emphasis of the bird? Well, the focus is not on the bird itself, but it's the fact that a bird has feathers. Now, the next thing is, what do feathers have to do with a basilisk, the king of snakes, or the serpent-like dragon? And let me remind you, all of this is going to point us back to the Vatican. They are all tied together with this. Now, let's go to the plot twist. If we look at the Chinese culture, we see that the Chinese are heavily involved with dragon festivals. Now, these dragon festivals have been a part of the Chinese culture since ancient China. In fact, ancient Chinese emperors, they were depicted as sons of dragons. However, here's the catch. The Chinese dragon is no ordinary dragon that just only simply has scales. No, this is a reptilian creature that looked like a serpent, and not just that alone, but that serpent-like dragon also was feathered. It had feathers, and guess what? They can fly. That is the Chinese dragon. However, I want you to put that on hold. Don't forget about this. Now let me take you to the Americas. Now it is interesting, when we go to the Americas, what we find is that in fact that name America, it never originally was America. It was Amaruca or Amaruca. Hold up, let's break this down so that you guys can understand this, so that there will be no confusion at the end of the day. That word Amaruca originates from South America. The original Native Americans, they are the ones who hold that name. It's theirs. What does it mean? Let's break it down. Amaru, that name Amaru is actually a name that is associated with a deity. And that deity, which is worshipped in South America, is a flying snake, is a serpent, a feathered serpent. Yes, we all know that Tupac used that name as his middle name, Tupac Amaru Shakur. However, this goes much deeper than what we think we know, because this feathered serpent is the deity of the land. Hence, this is why they derived the name Amaruca or Amaruca, which means land of the feathered serpent, land of the flying snake. That is what it originally means. The United States of America should be called the United Snakes of Amaruca or Amaruca. Now, for those of you who think that you know your history and you're going to come and tell me, oh, this guy definitely is pulling things out of a hat, is making things up, blah 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 blah, because America was named after such and such person, such and such. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that America's name did originate from this man by the name of Amerigo Vespucci, who obviously was an Italian explorer. And here is the questionable mark. When we search for the image of Amerigo Vespucci, what we find is there's a statue that was erected in honor of him. Here's the interesting thing. When you look at his foot, what is that creature underneath him? That's right, it's a reptile. A reptile that is climbing up on a pillar, and that pillar has the word America written above it. And the left hand of this statue is pointing towards the pillar and the lizard. In other words, this means the foundation or the pillars upon which America was founded upon is being supported by a reptilian origin. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I'm going to narrow things down to how all of this connects with the Vatican. One more thing I'll point out to you, when we go to ancient Egypt as well, what we find is the same thing. The feathered serpent, the winged serpent, is being worshipped in ancient Egypt. All of these things are a little extra coincidental to be taken as simply coincidence. All of them are connected together. Now the question is, how does all of this tie in with the Vatican and St. Peter's Basilica? Here is the hint I'm going to give you. Hopefully you will be able to answer the question before I get there. On one hand, you have the land of the flying serpent. On the other, you have the home of the king of serpents. Hint, hint. Now, let me switch the gears and ask a question, a profound question. Does the Bible support a deity, a serpent-like dragon who has crowns on his head and recognized as the king of dragons or the king of serpents or the serpent king? Listen to the following verses. And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought. But they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great, fiery, red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 diadems on his heads. You see, the Bible just told us the answers. This snake-like dragon is a representative or is a representation of the devil and Satan, who is the serpent of old. He is the deceiver of the world. He is that serpent-like dragon. Now, the question is, in Bible prophecy, who was the dragon that had the 7 heads and 10 horns, and it had 7 crowns on his heads? You see, that 7-headed dragon is Rome. When we go to Revelation 13, the Bible actually tells us who gave Rome his seat of authority, because the Bible says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. This was the first beast. The first beast represents papal Rome. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that many of you probably are confused because I'm simply just paraphrasing or going real quick and scanning through this. This is a subject that takes so much to be able to just compress in a very short time. However, I'm going to stick to the point. If you want to know more about these things, you're going to have to subscribe. But let's continue this. You see, if the dragon gave Rome her seat and great authority, then that means that itself is the throne of who? It's the home of the dragon. St. Peter's Basilica is the papal enclave. That is where the papacy dwells. That is the heart of the papacy, which means that is the home of the dragon. Who is the dragon? Oh, that's right. Now it all connects. It all makes sense. St. Peter's Basilica simply is the home of the basilisk, or the king of snakes. And when we look at the Bible with regards to the king of serpents, what we see is that there is a depiction of this dragon-like snake, or this snake-like dragon, who is the devil, and he has crowns upon his heads. That all represents the image of the devil, which means the very throne of the papacy is the very throne of Satan himself. Satan dwells in the Vatican, which means all of you who are drinking of the wine of Babylon, you need to stop drinking the wine of Babylon. All of you who are participating in the affairs of the Vatican or the Roman Catholic Church, you need to step out from it. All of you who are participating in her mark of authority, you need to step away from it. Sunday sacredness belongs to the papacy. It belongs to the Catholic Church, not to God. It is a counterfeit Sabbath instigated by the devil himself. The devil sits at the Vatican. He was the one who pushed for the agenda to have God's 10 Commandment laws abolished. That is whom you are following? Think carefully, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, my clock is up for this video. I'm ending it here. Ladies and gentlemen, there's much to talk about on this. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to this channel. I will only further go in detail of this in this subject now if I have enough people that request that I go further and go dig deeper into this to be able to come out and give you all the information that you need. Other than that, for now, I've got other videos that I'm working on. So, ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time tuning in, be sure to subscribe. There's a lot of information coming across your way. You can feel free to join me on Facebook. My link's in the video description box. Other than that, I'm not going to hold you off. You take care of yourselves, you be safe, and I'll see you guys next time.